Millions of children throughout the world are exposed to frequent and damaging stress. Not all stress is bad. Starting a new school, meeting an adult for the first time, these are experiences that, while stressful, are essential to healthy development. But we know now that chronic, uncontrolled stress is toxic to children. Stress becomes toxic when the body's neuronal and hormonal defense systems are frequently activated. Toxic stress increases a child's risk of developing heart disease as an adult and many other physical ailments. Toxic stress can trigger emotional and behavioral issues with far-reaching consequences.
In the first place, we would like to prevent the kind of extreme adversities that children should never experience. But things happen. Often we are trying to help children who have already experienced terrible adversity, and they've been affected by it.
Even when preventing toxic stress is not possible, research suggests that we can help children develop resiliency, a way of coping with the stress and mitigating its damaging effects.
Critically important for developing the capacity for resilience are relationships with people that are teaching you step by step the tools that give you the capacity for resilience.
It's a skill set, and it is the ability to have those individuals in our lives that serve as role models that help us develop those skill sets of, something really bad happened to you. You're okay now. And there is hope for the future.
I think maybe sometimes society thinks of a resilient kid as a child who's overcome some stress, but has good grades, is in lots of sports, has lots of friends. And for some kids, that's not what should be expected. And so resiliency for some kids means getting up and going to school every day. It may mean having one good relationship. So there are lots of different things to consider and to work with.
If you think of a child's life as a teeter-totter, for some children, many, many risk factors and negative experiences can pile up on one side, and it tilts them down and makes it very difficult for them to do well in life. And we have to think about, what do we need to do to counterbalance any of those negative experiences that happen or may happen in the future? We want to have a lot of positive experiences and weights of various kinds on the positive side in order to tilt that child's life back in a positive direction.
So you may even have a lot of negative factors, but if you have a lot of protective factors, then the teeter-totter will stay balanced or hopefully be weighted more in the positive direction, and good outcomes will happen.
Perhaps the most important protective or positive factor is the presence of a stable, positive adult in the child's life. A parent, mentor, church member, or even a concerned neighbor can tilt the teeter-totter of a stressed, vulnerable child in a positive direction. While some adults may be contributing to the child's stress, even these relationships can be repaired, and that adult can become a weight on the positive side. It is also possible for children who have been moved into foster care to build a positive environment in which to strengthen their resilience.
So the other component of a teeter-totter is the place where it's balancing, that fulcrum. For most of us, we probably start out life pretty much in the middle, with a balanced kind of teeter-totter, and things get added to weight it. But some children are born with more risk factors inherent. They may have had a very bad prenatal course.
If your mother is going through a lot or doesn't have adequate nutrition or is sick or in many other things that could happen, that can affect a child.
So a lot of harsh experiences without many protective experiences may well show up in sliding that fulcrum, where even one or two more additional negative things can tip you into some poor outcomes.
Negative experiences, regardless of how early they've occurred or how much they've shifted the fulcrum, don't need to permanently set the course of a child's life. Loving, supportive caretakers can arrive at any stage to offer protective experiences, tilting the teeter-totter in the right direction and bolstering resiliency for the future.
One very important thing about human development is that it's very dynamic. Even if a fulcrum is pretty settled in one place, then people can learn to accommodate their own fulcrum.
I often do a lot of parent-child work. So I will demonstrate how to give support and sort of guide a child through something. And they can take that home and then go through these steps at home. So when a child comes home, is stressed about things, this is how we come up with a plan. This is how we solve it together.
One of the most important things that I do is to have initial respectful engagement, to work to develop a trusting relationship, to offer hope to the family, because when you believe that there is a resolve to the trauma or the adversities that you are experiencing, I believe that creates a level of resilience.
I think that most of the kids I see are pretty high on the resilience scale, partly because many of them are asking for help, and I think a big part of resilience is recognizing when you need help, especially within older kids, figuring out who to ask, when to ask, and then how to ask for help.
Resilience is on your side in a sense. Human beings have so much capacity to adapt and recover given a good context for that, given a supportive environment. And you want to mobilize the child's own recovery systems and get them going again.